Good morning and welcome to Wednesdays with Willa. I am your host, Willa White, and I am a registered Lilydale medium. This is my weekly podcast show that airs on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. on my Facebook page, Willa White Medium, so you can like and share and follow and get all of the posts and updates about my events and classes, and especially my Wednesdays with Willa shows. Occasionally this does air on Lilydale Radio when possible, and you can look up Lilydale Radio on blogtalkradio.com/Lilydale Radio, and there are other radio shows in Lilydale that you can enjoy as well. There's a whole series of events that happen throughout the week, and they're building more radio shows as we speak. So on my particular show, I typically have a special guest on the show, and we have a discussion, a spiritual conversation regarding spiritualism, mediumship, maybe healing, faith, family, and more. And I've got a lot of great archive videos that you can check out on my Facebook page, or you can check out my YouTube channel, and those are archived there for your viewing pleasure. So today our topic is God and the sacred connection, and I'm really excited to be able to have this conversation today with my special guest, who is my mother, Bonnie White. Thanks for being on the show again, Mom.
You're welcome. I love it. It's exciting. It's nice to do this together.
It is very nice, and hopefully by sharing in the ways that we do, especially as I had the benefit of growing up with a spiritually minded and spiritually practiced mother, you'll reap the benefit of being part of the conversation today. My mother has been on my show before. I really encourage you to look back at all of those videos. They're so worthwhile. My mother, Bonnie White, is a registered Lilydale medium as well, and she is a spirit artist, and so what she does is very special beyond just the normal mediumship. She's able to convey on the page the faces of those that are passed to spirit, pets, symbols, things that are important to the individual. So it's really fascinating, her work. So I encourage you to visit her website and enjoy some of the offerings that she has there. So today we are going to be talking about God and the sacred connection. And that is such an important topic, no matter what day it is in your life.
That's
right. But especially right now, I think people are needing to be in that grounded space with the God principle. So I'm really excited to talk with you today, Mom.
Well, thank you for the introduction. So we are, one of the most, when you asked me what we were going to talk about, the only thing I could think of was God. You know, I was like, okay. Because I've been really thinking a lot about it in the past few months. You know, the connection that we all have with God, and where is God?
Yes.
Oh, everybody asks that question.
Yes. Where is God?
Where is God? And I have to say that the spiritualist principles, the first spiritual principle in the Church of Living Spirit is we believe in God.
We do.
Now that is a huge statement.
I know, you would think 3 words.
Yeah, it's not like
I'm sorry, 4 words.
You know, we may believe in the development of the connection, but basically we believe in God.
Yes, we do.
And it's our number one principle.
Yes.
And we use the principles as guidelines. They're not edicts or anything like that.
That's true.
But we have a belief that goes beyond just guessing, I guess.
Right. You know, spiritualists.
Well, I hope there's a God. No.
We know.
Yes, we know there's a God. And we prove it every day, especially when we have people come to Lilydale and make the connection with those in spirit.
Yes.
And it's a spiritual connection that begins the mediumship. So the next principle is we believe that God is all there is. That's a big one. I mean, all there is. I'm thinking, I get cosmic.
Yeah, that is very cosmic. That's why spiritualists a lot of times we would call it infinite intelligence.
Yes,
and it's infinitely outward.
And I don't know they used to have this thing about infinite being also tinier and tinier.
Yes, infinitely inward, yes.
And I remember, years and years ago, 40 years ago, they had that book, and they had it illustrated for children, and how you can see all the way into the atom, and then the atom looks like a universe. It's like,
yes,
there is such, all there is includes infinitely grand, infinitely powerful, infinitely connected, both ways.
Yes, there are many universes inside of you.
Yes. And we have many aspects to our own. And they're all, for instance, our bodies have lungs and hearts and all the stuff that you need to be alive. But it is not the body itself that is the living aspect. It is the containment.
Right.
It is the containment of who we are. And that's why we pay special attention to that which contains us, and that which contains us, also God, which contains us. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it goes infinitely in both directions.
There are many layers and dimensions involved here.
So every cell that you have has a little bit of God in it. But it's not just a little bit. Wherever you have God, it has the whole thing. That's because God is all there is. So it's like an expansive thing. And people have attempted, since I'm an artist, I've noticed a lot of attempts to picture God
That's true.
in art. And a lot of attempts to picture humans. It's really hard to picture a human, actually, if you know what I mean. Because, as people know, just from photography, you might take 10 pictures of a person, and only one actually looks like them. And yet you snapped 10 pictures.
And only one really captures what you feel to be the essence of that
or
person.
what they feel.
Or what they feel.
And there's a lot of disagreement about that too. But so we're very conscious of that, and we're conscious of attention, the look of a thing. We're conscious of wanting to see something in another person. And we were just watching a friend of ours who's become a famous poet on a YouTube channel, and he has always been interested. His whole interest in life has been in the other person. But he's also interested in himself, I have to say. But it's his connection with the other person.
Yeah.
Because when we connect with another person, we are connecting with their spirit. We're not just connecting with a design, a facial expression. We're already back of that as soon as we meet them. We're already within each other. It doesn't matter if they're a total stranger. As soon as you meet someone, you're within each other.
Yes.
I don't know.
The energy.
Energetically within. You don't become the person, but you're within each other. And so when we talk about the God within, we're talking also about the highest expression of the spirit that we also link into. And you do that in so many ways. And then once you begin to realize and look for God within, because a lot of people think it's in the sunset. I mean, I have to say, this is, I think, a common thing.
Sure.
And of course, we're all inspired.
Yes.
But it's the God within that we're looking at. And that's when we as creators, whether you're a poet, a musician, or an artist of the kind I am, or even if you look back at the ancient picturists, I'm going to say Leonardo da Vinci, I'm going to say Michelangelo, whatever. But if you look back at that, they are trying to grasp that essence that we're trying to grasp not only in other people, but in the universe and in God. It's not an alien thing to think that you can grasp the essence of something, or at least try. And as you grasp the essence, more unfolds. And that's the same with human relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of principles, and I brought them along. But the last one is, the number 7. The ultimate expression of loving God is to love thy neighbor as thyself, which has always been a problem. I mean, I have great neighbors. I don't want to say that, but I do. I have really great neighbors. I'm very fortunate. But to be able to see whatever they do, and your neighbor represents anybody that you think is outside of yourself, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to grasp who they are on that level. Well, I've been reading about the love. They talk about the love. Love thy neighbor as thyself, right? So if you start pouring the love principle towards your neighbor, not the other kinds of things that come up. I don't know what they are for each person, but there's always something. If you pour the love principle,
Mm-hmm.
you ask God to surround them with love. You picture them as whole and happy and strong people. You picture your neighbors that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because how do I want to picture myself? I want to picture myself as strong and healthy and happy.
And I think that the difficulty is there's the idea of reality,
Mm-hmm.
that in the sense of feeling the pings and dings of the emotional body reacting so strongly to certain people and situations, and the judgments that are involved with that, and the righteousness you may feel about your position or opinion.
That's right. And that's why you're supposed to leave judgment to God.
Yes. But, there's that idea of trying to defend that which is yours.
Yeah.
There's so many things that can be really stimulated in a person. And so I do feel what you're trying to explain here is that you want to picture them whole, healed, and complete.
Yes.
And hold that in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
Yes.
Healthy as part of the wholeness. And the wholeness also is their place within the same God as you have.
And when you do that, you're helping to manifest that into being.
Yes. And it starts to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way of manifesting, by making sure that your situation is clean within about that.
Yes.
People need to love themselves like they love their neighbor sometimes.
True. There's that.
They think the other person is better, So it's a real balance.
It is a balancing
It's a
act.
huge-
The pendulum swings.
Yeah. But that's where we come in, and that's the opportunity we have. So let's say you have something bothering you, and I'm not talking about a neighbor now. I'm talking about yourself. And you have something bothering you, and you feel agitated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not sure what to do. Somebody said something to somebody else, and somebody else is, it's like, Lord knows where it started.
Yeah.
But you have to deal with that. And you have to seek the higher spirit, because that's the only way to get rid of that. So it's like a cloud that forms around you.
Energetically, it can be quite a fog or a cloud.
And it's really hard to not be thinking thoughts that are very negative, either about yourself or someone else, or just your whole circumstance. You can get really negative about your own circumstance. You can't see how God is even there. But sometimes God sends a cloud, and as soon as you start to think, okay, what is the lesson for me in this? And you say, okay, this is about me. This is not about the whole universe. Or is it? But
dun dun dun.
dun dun dun. Right? But it seems like it's the whole universe.
Yeah.
But it's your universe. And everybody else is in it.
And there's this microcosm, macrocosm effect.
Yep. It's that infinite thing that happens. And as soon as you start asking God and being grateful for something else not having to do with your issue, as soon as your emotional life clarifies with the gratitude you have for, oh, I just saw a flower, it's beautiful, something happens to your aura.
That's true.
And for 1 millisecond, you forget who you're angry with. Mm-hmm. And then you think of another thing.
And it creates space.
It creates a huge space that is so blessed. It's a sacred, you make the sacred connection, and it begins to give you the space you need to solve the issue. And I don't know how to say it even. It's words. I like words a lot.
I think we all do. It's ineffable explaining spiritual things at times, and it's so multi-layered. It's difficult to dissect it for the analytical minds.
That's right.
That are there, but there's a sensing of it,
and it's almost like a heart space opens.
Yes.
And then you begin, because the heart and lungs are so connected. Mm-hmm. Fear is a big deal. Whew, I'll tell you, fear is a big deal.
Fear.
And it can make you turn to stone.
Yes, we've seen that with some people. That's true.
Yes. And it can make your friendships turn to stone. It can make your friendships with your neighbor turn to stone. But it's a fear. The fear is a real thing that humans are needing to work with. It's not like it just goes away. So there's where the forgiveness part comes in too.
It goes away the more you do make space by focusing on seeing God in things. And being grateful. Yeah. So that's a very key element to all of this. Mm-hmm. It does go away. And it's almost like you have to let some of the light in again.
Yeah. And so if you remember, oh yeah, here I am in this state of mind, emotion, and then you suddenly remember gratitude. It's very simple to swing into whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I also have to tell you that I am such a believer in babies.
I believe in babies too.
They have a glow. Yes. And it's like they just came from God. When you look at them, they are exuding this incredible light it seems all around.
Cue the music.
No, I wish I could sing. Right? So, anyway, yeah. So when you look at even a baby, or even a newborn animal, I must say,
sure,
a puppy,
sure,
but the human baby has such a beauty. Mm-hmm. And it really gets you into that instant alignment just to look at one,
Yes.
Just look at a baby. And just remember that you were just like that baby.
And to some extent you still are.
Yeah. Yeah. But we forget about that.
Yes.
And that's the importance of mothers.
Yes.
They can remind you that you were a baby that was beautiful.
That's right.
And you still are. Okay?
Aww.
So that's what mothers need to do.
Yes, they do need to do that.
They need to remind the baby of their wonderful gift.
And that's something that we can do for others as well that are not biologically ours.
That's right.
Or even
that's right.
Younger than us. We can give them that radiance of you are precious and you are
and you haven't ceased to be precious. Mm-hmm. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean you're not still sent here as a gift.
Yes. Yes.
And so, that's part of the gratitude
Mm-hmm.
We have for other people, and the interest in the wanting to have a connection with another person.
Yes.
And right now it's difficult.
There's a bit of a challenge
difficult.
going on here now.
Yeah. But it makes you realize how important it is too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And people need that kind of connection with others. It's a sustaining force. They need to have their own inner space that they cultivate in the solitude with God. But then there's that connection in seeing God with other people that is so essential to being here on this earth plane and really feeling that fulfilling sense of spirit.
And one of the other principles we have is life is eternal. So it doesn't end with so-called death. So-called death is a transition moment. And the material plane, God is within the whole plane, but when a person passes, they have not ceased to be eternal. They have taken a step on their eternal journey, and they're not going to forget you. Your loved ones do not forget you, and we have proof of that every time we do a reading.
Exactly.
People we don't know. People we don't know.
Complete strangers that come for readings, and their folks in spirit come through.
That's right.
And there is a joy and a healing.
That's right. And sometimes they get the same person will come through for another member of the family, like maybe it's a father and a grandfather, father of the mother of somebody that's also doing a reading. They have a totally different take on the person.
That's true. Different perspective.
And that's amazing. And you think, oh, I must be wrong, because you do the second person and it's the grandfather, but they're a totally different personality for them. And then you realize that after they've passed, they've remade themselves in the connection with the people. And it's always for the better.
There's improvement that occurs.
Yes, and the relationship can improve incredibly because they realize that they didn't die,
and that they are sacred, and that they are a soul.
Yes, and
it changes their perspective.
It's so wonderful. It's just so wonderful.
It is. Yeah. It truly is to know that God principle is present in our lives, every person's life. It's there for you.
And the extent to which we connect with spirit and learn how to connect with spirit, to connect with God, to connect with what is in all things. That God is all there is. He's given us bodies so that he can communicate with us, and we can communicate with him. That's or right. her, or
way better than a walkie-talkie.
Right.
way better than a
walkie-talkie. It's not the same. It's not the same as a robot. It's not the same.
It's not the same as we are divine intelligence.
Right. So it's hard to express, but I'm so grateful to be a medium, and it's always been important to me. And communicating with other forms of existence, animals, plants. I've had communications with plants. Okay. I won't tell everybody that. But, it's a possibility. That's because right. We've done it.
We have done it, yes.
And it's interesting to see people develop along that line too.
Yes.
And make that close connection. So.
And when they enhance their spiritual connection, sometimes it's one at a time of things that they have to progress. Everybody's progressing at their own rate, and sometimes they have to have a deep experience in one arena first. And then other people, they just they're like a sponge, and they've got, it's almost like their social creature energy just starts to come into being even more.
I know.
And they have to try this on for size, and how does that energetically feel connect with this person and that, and
there's so much to learn.
There's so much. It's vast, it's infinite,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what keeps it interesting.
That's right. And when I think back, I remember when I was going to school, I didn't go to first grade, or we didn't have kindergarten back then, but my mother, for some reason, decided I had to go to second grade first. I mean,
well, you're smart enough.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I was a kid. I didn't know that. I didn't know how to do cursive writing. Well, okay. But one of the best things about the school was that we would get an hour off for recess. And we would go play in this beautiful forest preserve that was right in back of the school. Huge, huge trees. Really big trees. And it was just a magical land. And in the spring, the little flowers would come up. And so all of us as children, and we were not supervised when they let us out, that was the teacher's recess.
Sure. And you would just have your forest play.
We'd go out in the forest and play,
yeah.
Right? And I think it was 50 years later, we were driving, we had gone back to, this is in Illinois, we had gone back because I was mostly raised in Tennessee, but we had gone back there, and as we were passing this one area, I suddenly got that feeling, and it just came over me, and I'm looking around, what is going on? Where is this coming from?
Yeah.
And I said, it's those trees. Those trees. I feel like I know those trees. You know, all this travel we've done, and all of a sudden I'm seeing these trees. And then I found out where we were. Those were the trees I had played in. I had talked to those trees.
Your energy remembered, and
my energy
remembered you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was astonished because I didn't know that would happen.
It's very special to have that recognition of energy, those energy signatures that are unique.
And that happens to people. That's why people need that natural place, because it really can develop your aura.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And make you sensitive to identifying those things. I identified that little patch of trees.
And you hadn't been there for eons.
That's right.
It would seem.
No, and I don't even know if the school is there, but it was like, that's where it was.
You were able to hone in and target on the energy.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to look for it.
Yeah.
I was like, suddenly it was there.
You found your Shangri-La again.
I think there are a lot of people who develop an ability that they don't even know they have, not necessarily from going to school, but extracurricular, you know. Yes. So that was an extracurricular recess.
Yes. And it's such a beautiful example of connecting.
Yes, and the kids are doing it all the time still.
Yes.
And so we're very fortunate to live in this beautiful surroundings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So
beautiful. Well, I know that with the sacred connection, that when we were talking about fear, I think there was something else you wanted to mention regarding that, with the heart space, especially. Yes. I just want to counter a little bit.
I was just reading this morning. I opened this book up, and it's a chapter about heart troubles. It's a book for healers, and it says fear. Fear shows first as a stimulation and then as a weakening of the heart, followed by disturbances in respiration. an habitual state of fear, a chronic fear, becomes a maintained anxiety and often shows forth as asthma. I had no idea. And then it goes on, but about the sense of responsibility this kind of person has. This kind of person is very sensitive.
Yes.
And it's not a problem with them. It's like knowing how to rebalance their energy and requalify their energy.
Yes.
And we're not taught that.
That's just
in
true.
the main.
And in the main culture, society, we're not taught how to overcome that overstimulation and the fear and the weakening of energy.
And the weakening fear, then, because it clenches you, and it can actually make you turn kind of to stone in a way, or it can make it, the 3 F's. Fear. Yes. I can't remember.
It's the flight.
Flight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that one. Freeze, flight, and something else. I can't remember. But anyway, those things bind you up in a certain way. But the treatment, it says, lift your patient into the consciousness of peace and freedom and the unlimited bounty of God, who is the very source of being.
Yes.
God's our source.
Yes.
It's not something we just believe in. It is our source of vitality, of life. And so we forget that. We think that our diet is.
Right. So let's say it again. You're going to lift up into the consciousness of peace and freedom.
That's right.
And the unlimited bounty of God, who is the very source of being.
Yeah.
Lift your consciousness to the space. It's crucial in that fear time.
And it says here, firmly lead him away from vain hope and into the truth of the now.
Truth of the now. Yes.
And the word now taps the sources of power within, giving the patient a renewed desire to be and to do. And that when you have the desire to be and to do, it gets you out of that fear.
That's right.
And then the breathing can become more deep.
So when people are in a paralyzed state or holding in that the holding pattern space, that actually can lead to a lot of
other problems. Yeah.
And so I think that's a real key part of this. You're tapping into now, being in this present moment of now, and not the past, not the future,
and not just a vain hope. Well, I'm just not lucky, or I wasn't born rich, or all these things that you go through your mind, and I can't seem to. I'm a failure or whatever. Those are. Then you start thinking of a vain hope. Well, yeah, if God's there, I'm gonna.
If I win the lottery.
But when you feel the presence of God, it's almost like something comes over you, like a wonderful cleansing rain. I don't know how to say. There's something there, and when you reach that, that's not a vain hope space.
No, it's not, because
that
you're
is
filled.
That is like you take a breath. It's that aha. When you have that aha moment, you're on your way.
Yeah, because you're filling that space with love and light.
Yes.
And I think it's that phrase, the truth of now.
The truth of now
is so crucial for that. And I like that it says, you need to be motivated with a renewed sense to be and do.
Yes, because you have within you the resources.
And then you're not stalled out.
Right. And your consciousness will catch up. Your consciousness, you don't have to start with the consciousness. You have to start with the feeling. Yes. And you have to let yourself feel the now. And now, what's that? I have these memories. I'm not going to let them go. It's like,
sure.
No, just breathe them out.
Breathe them
Let
out.
God have them. Because when you breathe out, You're giving it.
Yes, allow for that exchange of energy.
Allow for the exchange of energy. So, I love it.
I love it too.
I can feel it.
It's so valuable. Right,
Yeah.
just even talking about it, we can feel ourselves vibrating in that healing mode.
Yeah, it can feel so. It feels good.
It does.
And it's not something that we just have. Everybody has. It's not something that we feel like we have to protect. You know what I mean?
This is a shared knowledge.
This is a shared knowledge. And I think kids have it.
Yes.
I do. I really do. So
they truly do. And so I love that it's all about going back into that sacred connection.
that's right.
To access that God principle within. And that's an essential, very needed understanding and awareness going forward in your life, to have that.
And you realize who you are. And you know, when you do that, you put your hand on your heart. I just did it unconsciously. And you realize who you are. It's like, okay, there it is. So, yeah.
Yes, it's great when you say, my name is,
Yeah.
I am.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. And there you have it. It's an unconscious expression that becomes conscious if you notice it. But it may never.
If you bring attention to those kinds of things. Yeah. She does that a lot.
I do it all the time.
I think you know who you are. You're just pressing the button.
Yes, you have to press that button. I recommend, just press the button.
Just press the button.
What a concept.
And what a concept. I think it's really delightful. Is there anything else you wanted to share about these things? The gifts. The gifts. We didn't talk about the gifts.
Well, since we are gifts,
Before we...
when we come in, we are really gifts.
Yes.
We see our children as gifts, and we see our friendships with people as gifts. We see our connections. We see our ability to travel and go somewhere and tune in all the time. Our aura, our aura is not static. It's constantly expanding and bringing things in and expanding, just like our breath, but it's a finer kind of substance than actual breathing.
Yeah, this is etheric.
Yes, it's etheric.
One of my mom's favorite words.
Yes, it is. But yes, an etheric kind of breath. It's like your aura is doing that. And when you give another person a gift, it's really great to receive gifts, and it's also great to give them. And when you get something from somebody, every time you re-experience something about that, whether it's a food or it's an actual item, you experience the person again.
That's true. So that's the gift of a really good gift.
That's a really good gift. Yeah. It can, and then even though when you're experiencing something now, in the now, it brings back the other person in the now. So there's an aspect, and then it's kind of, I like that.
Yes, it's a beautiful understanding of God principle in the gifts.
Yes, right.
That you can give another person. And we also have spiritual gifts.
That's right.
That manifest. And mediumship and healing are considered gifts of the spirit.
And there's a whole list of gifts of the Spirit.
Yes.
In the Bible.
And so we encourage you to really give yourself over to spiritual gifts that you may have. To explore that more fully if you haven't already. And share them for the blessings of everyone. Absolutely.
So what a wonderful world we live in.
We do. We have this opportunity to tap into that sacred understanding of events and of ourselves and of God, and bring that awareness of God to all aspects of life.
And we don't know who is listening.
That's true.
But, it's like I used to make, I used to be a hand weaver.
Yes.
And I had big looms, and I'd make clothing for people, and then I'd take them to Chautauqua to the shows and sell them. I never knew who I was making things for, but I knew it wasn't for me because it wouldn't fit me. And not that I wouldn't want it, but it wouldn't fit me. So then somebody would come into my booth there in Chautauqua, and they'd see that, whatever it is, like it could be a shawl or a jacket or something, and there's something happened. And I knew I made that for this person, and I didn't even know who it was. I never told them that, but
yes,
but I would make things for people that I never saw,
and it would be perfect, and they would recognize the perfection before them. And
then people would take the shawls on their trips, and they tell me, I took this to Scotland, or I took this,
and so we know that was their divine right garment.
Yeah,
their divine right gift.
Their divine right garment. So that was fun.
It was a lot of fun to see that happen. Over the years, and have the specialness that they felt about what you had made.
Right. So mediumship takes place not only in mediums who know they're mediums, but in every person. There's a mediumship, and there is an exploration of the unfolding of something. It can be one of your gifts, might be that creative act, or even cars. You might be mechanically inclined. I always consider mechanics a gift.
Oh yes.
But it is exciting.
Right, and some people are really good at putting things in order, and that's right. Their thing. And so you everybody has their niche, their gift that is theirs, that they can amplify and really hone to a fine, high level. And it's that God connection that makes that even more present in them. You can see it, the radiance in everything that they do when they apply themselves that way.
That's right. And cooking is huge.
Cooking, absolutely.
Yeah, because you can actually feel the love from a plate of food that somebody has put into it.
Yes, absolutely. The love that is present there.
That is so special. So
food has the God principle in it.
So we're not saying that mediumship is the only way to connect with God or anything like that. We're saying God is in everything.
Yes.
And we're saying in our churches, we're saying God is all there is, and He's within every part of the creation.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. I hope you've really enjoyed the words and the conversation shared today. And I really appreciate my mom's perspective. As you can see, I'm very, very, very blessed to have her in my life in this way. I wanted to mention to everyone that, we have some special things we're going to be announcing in the time to come regarding our classes and things like that. I've got a new meditation that's out, harmonizing mind, body, spirit. So some of the principles of this God and sacred connection are very present in that meditation. So you can go to my website, willawhite.com for that. And so I'm launching different meditations at different times, the ones that feel right and that speak to my soul at that particular time. And if they speak to yours and you resonate with it, then great. Also, I've got more online classes. I'll be announcing some things in the next couple of days, so stay tuned on my Facebook site, Willa White Medium, for news about that. And really exciting, Mom and I are in the midst of planning an online class as well. So
see what happens.
We'll see what happens with it all, and hope that you're excited to have more experiences in that way. We can do things, a lot of things we can do virtually. Mm-hmm. So we're shifting and adapting as needed to these circumstances and making that sacred connection even in those venues. Mm-hmm. It's really important, and to build that understanding and spiritual unfoldment. So really wonderful talk today, Mom. I appreciate it so much.
And really glad that all of you joined. And I can feel a kind of presence with that, and it's wonderful. Thank you.
It is indeed. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week and enjoy that sacred connection. Look for it in yourselves and in others and in your experiences in the days ahead, and be in that space of now. God bless everyone. Bye-bye.
God bless.